Time is equal to distance divided by speed if speed is a constant. Welcome. A car goes from a point in Cincinnati to Chicago with constant speed of 30 meters per second. So it is going from Cincinnati to Chicago at 30 meters per second and returns from Chicago to Cincinnati with constant speed 20 meters per second. So we are going slow. The approximate separation between Cincinnati and Chicago is 600,000 meters. What is the total time for the trip? Is it A, 600,000 divided by 30 plus 20? Or is it B, 600,000 divided by average of 30 and 20? Or is it C, 600,000 divided by 30 plus 600,000 divided by 20? All in seconds. Positive x is defined as to the right, negative y is always vertically down. So we start with speed is equal to distance divided by time. So what is time? Time is distance divided by speed. Just rearrange. Speed is equal to distance divided by time. So what is distance? Distance is speed times time. What about time? Time is distance divided by speed. And what about speed? Distance divided by time. So from speed is equal to distance divided by time, we see that time is equal to distance divided by speed. So what is the total time? Time to go from Cincinnati to Chicago plus time, or time to come from Chicago to Cincinnati. Cincinnati to Chicago, time is equal to distance divided by speed. Do we know the distance from Cincinnati to Chicago? Do we know the speed with which we go from Cincinnati to Chicago? From Chicago to Cincinnati, let's look at that. Do we know the distance from Chicago to Cincinnati? Do we know the speed to come from Chicago to Cincinnati? So we know distance 1, we know speed 1. We know distance 2, we know speed 2. Once we have time 1 and time 2, all you have to do is just add. So time 1 is distance 1 divided by speed. What is the distance? 600,000 meters. What is the speed? 30 meters per second. So once you have distance and the speed, we can get time 1. How about time 2? Do we know distance 2? Yes, 600,000 meters. Do we know speed 2? Yes, 20 meters per second. So from that, we get time 2. So now we have time 1 and time 2. All we have to do is add those two times. So let's substitute all those numbers that we know. Time from Cincinnati to Chicago is distance divided by speed. Distance divided by speed. Distance is 600,000. Speed is 30. So distance divided by speed is 20,000 seconds. How about Chicago to Cincinnati? Time is again distance divided by speed. Distance is again 600,000 meters. Speed is now slower. It is 20. So you get 30,000 seconds. So we have 20,000 seconds to go from Cincinnati to Chicago. It takes 30,000 seconds to come from Chicago to Cincinnati. So we add those two times, and what do we get? 20,000 plus 30,000 is 50,000 seconds. So total time is 50,000 seconds. So total time in seconds is 50,000 seconds. Now, if you are very curious as to what the time is in hours, you convert seconds to hours. All right, 50,000 seconds, and you know that 1 hour is equal to 3,600 seconds. 50,000 seconds, this whole thing is actually 1, correct? This whole thing is actually 1 because 1 hour is equal to 3,600 seconds. So what is 1 hour divided by 3600 seconds? Is equivalent to 1. But we put that in such a way that the seconds and seconds cancel out. So we put 3600 seconds at the bottom. So we get 50,000 divided by 3600. So many hours. And that is 13.889 hours. Don't forget, if you go back to our question, we were only asked for the seconds. It is 20,000 plus 30,000. And so the answer should be 50,000. And this is George Mathew signing off. Good luck.